Well, guys, the weather outside sure is frightful, and I don't think it really matters so much where you live. If you're somewhere in the southern United States, you know what I'm talking about. It is really cold out there. We have a whole bunch of snow out right in front of me, and I took the dog out this morning, and I felt like I was back in Canada again. So we're going to get back here into baseball stars here today. Apologies for the sound of the heater behind me. That hopefully will go away in a second. It'll probably on and off for the most part of this morning as we jump into this. If you're wondering where it is we left off, we're still playing against the SNK Crushers, of course. We've been making a couple of gradual improvements to the team. I'm going to try to make a couple of slight adjustments here. So one thing I'll tell you about playing a game like this is that sometimes when you're playing it, especially if you're sort of talking about it while you play, it can be really, really easy to sort of forget some of the things that you're doing, or kind of get a little bit lost in all of that stuff. Who is it? Who we got here? We got this rookie. I'm trying to remember whose name this rookie was going to take. Yes, I think I know what we're going to do. So we'll give this rookie a name, although she probably is not going to play much at the very beginning. See if I can spell. But I do thank all of you for your comments to let me know sort of what it is that you'd recommend doing, because the thing is that there are times when you're playing this game you don't entirely either realize what's happening, or if you're like me, you haven't kept very, very good records of like what everybody's at, what everybody's doing, and so on. So I'll tell you a couple things. First off, one of the reasons why we want to increase prestige, like Pigpen here to get 15, or Charlie Brown, or whatever, one of the reasons why we still want to increase prestige at the beginning is because the nice thing about having heavy prestige with these players, as long as we're winning the games, is that we receive extra money. Now, those of you who have been commenting on this know that it is correct that prestige is only going to get you so much money from the game when you win. But the purpose here is to try to get prestige across the board high enough, especially among players who are not going to play very much, like Frida, I don't think we have in there. Violet, we don't have in there yet. The reason why we want prestige to be high among those players is so we can get the bonus from them, even if we're not quite playing them yet. It is true that like there's this real question about what you should spend your money on, whether you should dump it all into prestige at first or spend a little bit on other things. I would argue that it sort of depends upon like where you are and how you're playing and how well you're doing against the other teams. But you do want to increase prestige at the beginning of the game just so you can get more money in, to make it a little bit more possible to play and to avoid having to play games sort of infinitely. Now, there was a commenter here who had a lot of, I think, very good and detailed recommendations for things to change here in the batting order. So we're going to do a couple of batting order changes here right from the beginning. I'm literally going off of what this guy wrote. We're going to just sort of go through and see how this works. We'll have Lucy and Sally changed here, and then we're going to take Franklin out. And the reason why I wanted to say all of this stuff is because the truth is that when you play through this, from time to time you kind of forget who has what rating. One of the challenges with this screen is that you can't actually see the rating, so I definitely rely on those of you who are paying very, very close attention to give me sort of your advice and say where you would put certain people. So we'll have Shermie and Lucy change. That's right, because Lucy does have better defensive ability. That should look, I think, just about right. And we'll go ahead and start the game here. Now, I do have a little story about this. Back during the pandemic, I got into watching people play Football Manager on YouTube because it was the pandemic. I was watching Lelujo, Kev, who's one of... Boy, I need to stop swinging at those, huh? I was watching Lelujo, who is to this day one of the biggest sort of Football Manager creators on the internet. And I remember watching one of these saves that he was doing and getting really invested in it. And, like other people in the comments, I would leave a whole bunch of comments telling him, hey, you should do this, you should do that. And it was very, very frustrating when I would watch later videos and realize that he didn't read any of the comments or wouldn't do any of those things. So we don't want that sort of experience here. Part of Kev's problem is that he was filming a lot of his videos sort of ahead of time. So he was taking a lot of the content and filming it out, like a day or two, or sometimes a week or even 2 weeks before it actually went out on YouTube. Now, when you're making content, you want to do stuff like that so that you're not always under that time pressure to, you know, come out with something right away. It's good to have a little bit of a buffer, which is something I don't really have at the moment, unfortunately. I'm trying to work my way up to that. There are a couple of complex reasons behind that, but that's sort of the way it is. But the problem when you're doing sort of a, you know, let's play type series like this is that if you're going way out ahead and you don't, you know, give yourself any time for feedback, the feedback might come and then people, you know, realize that you're not watching it or listening to it. That can be a really, really bad experience as a viewer. So sort of the moral behind this story is that I definitely understand where you're coming from, because I've been on the comment side as well, and I know what it's like to, you know, sort of have acts like, you know, is this person paying any attention to any of the comments? Are you reading anything? Do you actually care? So at least I can't speak for every other channel, but I can tell you in the case of this channel, I do care a lot about the comments and what your suggestions are for this game. And honestly, it's actually kind of exciting for me to realize that people are sort of like rooting for this project and are interested in it. And I keep thinking to myself, okay, so what is it that's different about this project than every other project I've done? How can people seem to care about this one so much, right? How do I get people to care about playing with the Dream Team in that awful game on my basketball channel or whatever it is? So anyway, I mean, that I've only done 2 videos on that series. So that's probably a bad comparison, but that's kind of the sort of thing that, you know, you end up thinking as a content creator. You're like, oh, well, so this is working for some reason, right? But why, right? What is it that, you know, is appealing to people? Why do people care about watching this? Why do people care about how this random team is doing in the 25 games against the SNK Crushers and so on? Boy, I wish that ball would hit me. That would have been really nice. Well, I was trying to get her to stop. It didn't work quite right. I didn't think I wasn't fast enough or something like that. Anyway, it didn't matter anyway. They had the double play no matter what I was going to do. And so we still end up being scoreless, but we're getting base hits, which is good. And yeah, we're not quite to the point where we want to be yet, but we're getting there. So anyway, good times. As I was saying here at the beginning, it is cold outside, it is snowy outside. I actually did not go to the gym this morning because I don't think that the roads are suitable for driving in right now. It's really, really, really bad out there. So it's going to be like this for a little while, though I think that the majority of the heavy snow is going to be taken away probably by the end of the day today, I'm guessing. The hardest part is dealing with all the snow like on the walk and stuff like that. I did a little bit of shoveling actually out in the back this morning, and it's just really, really heavy. That layer of ice on top of it really does not make it easy to shovel. So wherever you are, hopefully you're not having similar issues outdoors. You can go outside and sort of enjoy things. Everything's been canceled here, so there's no school, no nothing, so it is. And so it's a great day for sitting around watching somebody play baseball stars and, you know, thinking about all the good things in life. Now, if we could just get a couple of base hits here, then we could really get something going, right? That's what Bob Prince used to say. You need a bleep, a bloop, and a blast. And every time I swing with this guy, I have a lot of bleeps coming out of me. So, boy, I mean, yeah, this Nobe, he's got me figured out. See, that was a ball all along. It should be a 3-ball, no-strike count. But here I am chasing after every single pitch he throws. So this has got to be on me. It would be nice if we could work a walk out of this, but I think this is coming down the middle. Yep. Boy, I tell you, I love having this guy hit leadoff, though. Doesn't have any actual hitting ability, and look at how slow he is. I mean, he would have been thrown out by about 2 miles. But he's able to get it done. Able to get on base, that's what we care about. Yeah, it turns out Nobe is kind of nibbling at the corners. That's what they used to say. You remember when Daisuke Matsuzaka was the big pitcher and people got really frustrated with him over in Boston? He had like a couple really good games. I think he had the one good season, but most of the time he would end up just nibbling, nibbling, nibbling. So that's what we're up against here. I'll tell you, I've got a story about that actually. Daisuke, when there was the big controversy over whether the Yankees or Red Sox was going to get him. I want to say this was in the 2006 off-season. I was actually out of the country. I was in China at the time on study abroad, and I spent a lot of time at, yeah, that was bad. I tried to go back and it was too late. I spent a lot of time at that point in time at internet cafes. You know, I didn't have a laptop computer with me at all or anything like that, because initially I was thinking, oh, I don't need to use the internet, I don't need to do anything. But you know, you get to the point where you do want to like actually have communication with the outside world. Anyway, I remember the following everybody over on Baseball Primer talking about Dice K. I guess it was Baseball Think Factory by then. And there was all that talk about him having the so-called gyro ball and whether he was like, you know, the mythical, like, perfect starting pitcher and all of this stuff. And there was the big bidding war between the Yankees and the Red Sox for his services, and Boston ended up winning. I remember that. I remember that very, very well. I remember it like it was yesterday. You know, we're talking about a player who has been retired now for like a decade or something like that. Matsuzaka was a big, big name for a little while. There was even a debate on that forum about how to say his first name, whether you should say Daisuke or Daisuke. Of course, it is Daisuke. Lots of interesting stuff in that world of baseball fandom. See, that's the sort of thing nobody ever really talks about, right? Nobody talks about these forums. Nobody talks about the sort of weird guys that you meet on there. Nobody talks about, you know, the endless discussions that we would have. Baseball Think Factory, back when it was still around, I don't know if Jim has put it back up yet or not, but back when it was really a thing, it was the host of all sorts of like political discussions and literary discussions, and like you would find out about things through that forum that I didn't know about from any other source, right? So there used to be some pretty cool threads there that would get a lot of traction back in the old days. There's also used to be at least a lot of discussion about not just the Hall of Fame, but about their own Hall of Merit, which was sort of the alternative to the Hall of Fame, with actually like defined standards for getting in and long discussions about how certain players actually played in real life and stuff like that. I don't know if any of that stuff has been saved anywhere. It's really a shame if it hasn't, because it's the sort of thing that really should be saved and should be preserved. You know, a lot of that sort of baseball history work and a lot of that research and stuff doesn't really have another place. And so one of the reasons why I have not just this YouTube project, but also the blog project, is to try to make a place for stuff like that. Unfortunately, a lot of things in the culture of baseball fandom like that have kind of evaporated over time. Major League Baseball in particular does a really, really poor job of figuring out how to get people who are interested in the history of the sport to also be interested in today's product. It really is a problem, and has been a problem for a long time. You know, things like, you know, Saber has been around for, I mean, I don't even know how many years, and Major League Baseball will play some lip service to the past, but it does a really bad job of, like, integrating itself with, you know, people who are spending their own time and sometimes their own money just doing baseball research, right? So, anyway. That's what we should do. We should have MLB be a sponsor of this channel. That's really what should happen. So if you have all of your high-end connections with Major League Baseball, you got to tell them about what's happening here, right? That's what this is all about. Yeah, well, maybe they shouldn't sponsor. They should sponsor Linus's glove at second base. That was pretty bad. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. All right, well, we're in trouble again. See, if I had control over the pitcher as soon as that was hit... I'm trying to throw to third, I throw to second instead. If I had control of the pitcher as soon as that ball was hit, that would have been a different story. Who's this at the plate now? Is this Paul? No, this is Neil. He doesn't have that much power. Alright. We get the easy out. That means that there's one out. 5-1 game, so it's still kind of close. We're still not dominating them the way we should. And this is going to be trouble. Like I said before, it's warning track power, and look at that throw. Beautiful throw from whoever's out there in left. I don't remember. I should know, actually. In fact, I can look it up. I have my sheet right here. That was left fielder 1 playing in left field. Hey, maybe we should hold on to this kid, huh? We got a Babe Herman situation here. It's okay, it's the third out anyway. So we end up getting out of the inning, 5-1. Now the lead, and let's see if we can get 6 runs here and put this game out of its misery. Alright. Ikawa is not the one who has the delivery that drives me nuts. It's the other guy that they have. And if you think that's bad, just wait till we start playing against like lovely ladies and stuff like that. That's where the deliveries become really, really interesting. This is the thing. There's so much more depth to this game than what we've seen so far. It really is a remarkable game. I think it's one of the best games on the NES, and probably one of the best sports games on any platform. Oh, shoot. And as you can see, I mean, even after we've made all of these improvements to the team, there still is an element of challenge here and a little bit of controversy about, like, what should we do, what shouldn't we do, and so on. Okay, well, we'll take that. It was a little bit of a comedy of errors there. I don't know why they went to second instead of going to third, but whatever. And they're going to get the double play here. So it doesn't help us in the end. So much for trying to score 6 runs in that half inning. We ended up with nothing. At least we're getting base runners, though. That's the important part. So I think, again, based on the comment section, I think that we will try to build up Linus as soon as this is done. And I think it's going to be a question at the beginning of trying to build up some of the sort of big guns in the lineup. And once we do that, we should be able to get a little bit more production from the middle of the order. And that should make it a little bit easier to win more of these games and to keep going. Trying to get him to chase, and he wouldn't chase. Oh man, we just barely didn't time that one right. There you go. Alright, so now we go to the top of the 6th inning. Let's see if we can't get a couple of runs scored. We're going to take this guy out. He has served us well. Well, that wasn't very good. At some point in time, you do want to, you know, work a little bit on batting with the pitchers, but not necessarily that much. The thing is that they all have their own max potential ratings, and it's up to you to decide how you're going to spend those ratings. So you don't necessarily want to have a guy who's a pitcher who's a really good hitter. Which is unfortunate, because it would be really nice to have a Shohei Ohtani, but so it is. Yeah, nothing happening there either, so we have more of the same problems that we had in the past. There you go, there's the good gun. Who's that over at third base that we have playing there? Well, I have to look at the right picture here to see. Oh, well, I think I've lost it. Let's go back and grab it again. This is my scientific way of doing things. I took a screenshot. I can't find it anymore. Okay, well, whatever. For some reason, I must have done something with it. As long as we can strike that guy out, I'm happy. Paul has been the biggest thorn in our side this whole series. Like I said before, if this was Bad News Baseball, we'd have him out at first base by a mile. So when I pushed down with the catcher there, it was stuck between trying to get the pitcher or the catcher to field the ball. You're supposed to push up. The game does all sorts of weird things. Alright, we probably shouldn't be swinging at that. I'm a little bit eager trying to get this guy to hit a home run finally. Yeah, and I think they're a little bit eager as well. Looks like Ikawa wants to hit him. Ah, no, he got under it. You know, for all the problems Linus has had, he's still hitting 423. He's actually hitting pretty well here. Okay, that, I don't know what was going on there. That should be really an error on the computer. It's not going to call it, but the computer should have been able to grab that. That was hit right at him, and he just ran out of the way. It's almost like he was deliberately trying to avoid the ball. There you go, a little bit of trickery. That gets us runners on second and third again. So, good times once again. Well, I don't know about those pitches called right on that corner. It drives me nuts. Ah, that's not going to do it. Oh, well, we'll take the blue base hit, but really, that should be the second baseman's ball. I guess that's the Crushers being nice to us or something like that. Yeah, Ikawa's going to come out of this game pretty soon. I think that I don't think that this guy has the ability to throw curveballs anymore. I think that's what the computer's trying to do with him. I don't think that it wants to intentionally walk me here. Yep, see? Take him out of the game. We gotta deal with this guy now. Drop, yep. There we go. Base hit, another run scores. Alright, well maybe this is the inning we score 6 runs and put an end to our misery, huh? Alright, 1-1. Oh, is this gonna go through? No. Yes! Yes, it does. We've had a little bit of good luck in this inning. But the best luck that we've had is that this guy Hama can't throw strikes. Oh, there's a strike. That's going to go through for another base hit. We keep the inning alive, and now we got the big guy coming up. See if they even pitch to him. A little bit of an emergency swing there, the last second. Oh, come on. Way inside. There you go. Another well-hit ball, but nothing more than a single. 10-1 now. All right. A little bit of a quick pitch there against Linus. I think this is going to be caught. Yeah. All right, so 10-1. Doesn't mean that we have to worry about the bullpen, but it's all right. Yeah, I thought that I had a shortstop there somewhere, and it turns out that we did. One of those puzzling things about these NES games, trying to figure out which player you're allowed to control and which one you're not. And we're gonna get him? No. Just barely, but no. If we had better fielding from the pitcher, that probably would have been a double play, but it's not quite. This is going to be a loud out, I think. Yep, we just barely got there in time. That's one of those where you wish that the screen would go there first instead of going along and following the path of the ball. It's so hard to see where your guy is. There we go, base hit. Now we've got it going. So the grind continues. I think it's going to fall. I think it's going to fall. I think it's going to fall. It will. Extra base hit there for Lucy. All right. This should be run number 11 coming through. Now we're going to hold. We need to get her batting stats up a little bit there. That was less than ideal. I think that's gonna fall. Yep. right, and now that means the pitcher's up. Ah, shoot. Well, that's not the outcome we wanted. I probably should have pushed up when I swung at that, when I swing at that. It's me crowding the plate there that looked inside, but it's my own fault. It would be nice if we could get Hum out of the game here. That would be perfect. Yeah, that'll do it. So, we do get to 11 runs, which is good. Now, let's see if we can get him out. We will have to face Paul this inning, however, which is always a problem. And that's a problem. Yeah, not much we can do about that, unfortunately. So I actually pushed the B button trying to get the guy to dive for that ball, but it just didn't happen. I'm not sure how the game determines you're able to dive or not able to dive, but there's some sort of like internal rule that controls that of some kind. I don't know what it is. All right. Well, one more out to go. You can see him really laboring, but we've done it. So we win again. 8 innings once again. We win 11-1, and we're starting to do a little bit better now. Pitcher C1 is now 4-1, and Nobe is 2-4, and pitcher E1 has his second save. $46,000 now have come in, so we're doing a little bit better. And now here comes that moment of truth. So we got 46,000. I think we do want to power him up. And what is it that we wanted to grab? So I'll see. I think I may have inadvertently removed that screenshot I had of the comment. Yeah, here it is. So what we want to do is we want to try to get Linus up to at least 10 in terms of batting. So I think we will. I think we'll do this. I think we'll give him 11 in batting. And then we have a little bit more money, so we can do kind of what we want with it. We could pump him up, we could pump Franklin up, or Shermy up, we could pump Violet up. I think what we're going to do is we're going to, that gives us what, 9,000 afterwards? Ah, boy, we didn't get anything from that. So we'll just waste it on the prestige. As you can see there, right, his price is the same, 12,000. So people have been saying, oh, you don't want to, you know, pump up prestige too much. Sometimes when you have one of those, you know, small number things, you just do it anyway. Because it doesn't hurt you really that much. I mean, for her, we're just going to dump it all on prestige. To get us a little bit more money. So that's kind of what the strategy is. We'll have the same lineup for you next time around, and hopefully we can win again by around the same margin. So Linus with a batting of 11 now. Pigpen has batting of 11, hitting of 10, and that should mean that we have a pretty good sort of 1-2 lineup in the order. The other thing I want to say about these guys is that their price is only 30,000, so we can still, after winning one game, we still can pump them up if we need to. I still think, though, that now that we've gotten Linus out of the way, we probably want to spend a little bit of money sort of pumping Shermy up and pumping up Lucy a little bit more, see if we can do some better things with them. Probably pump up Sally as well. We'll probably just go like one at a time, try to get these two to the point where they also, Shermy and Lucy up to the point where they also have batting over 10. Sally as well. So it's going to take a little while. We have a couple more games coming up. Yeah, we're going to focus on the batting first, and then eventually we're going to do something about the pitching, but that'll come a little bit later. So there you go. we have completed successfully another one of our Baseball Stars adventures, and we'll have more of this for you tomorrow. It's amazing. I had about a half hour every single one of these videos. So thank you for spending your half hour with me. Hopefully, as I said, hopefully your power stays on. Hopefully, like the heat stays on. You can sort of hang out inside and check stuff out. And hopefully I can get done with, blog posts and other stuff for today, so we can go back and do a couple of other things as well. So I'll talk with you later. Take care.